So I think about these two communities at higher elevation. One based on the pursuit of material wealth, the silver, the copper, the mining, the money, and one based on the pursuit of spiritual wealth, and that would be Crestone. Now, I was up there contemplating on these churches of higher elevation. I thought about my own church here in Florida. Now, at least, needless to say, we're not very high. We're at sea level. But just because we're at sea level doesn't mean we can't be a church of higher elevation. And I think it's important that we continue to become that church of higher elevation because, as I've said before, what this congregation represents to the world is much bigger than what we really are. I look out here today and I see, 50, 75 people. I mean, this time of the year especially, we're a small church. We're not 500 people or 5,000 people or 50,000 people. There are churches that big. And I've been a part of some big churches. But that's not the point. It's what we represent, what our mission is, what our vision is, what we contribute to this world. And believe me, when I'm out there with people who have this kind of vision and they hear about what we're doing here, it intrigues them. It encourages them that there's a congregation like this existing somewhere, especially in Florida. Why Florida? But here we are. What we represent to the world is huge. And this statement of interfaith that we share, this affirmation that we share, we're an open door through which anyone can pass without fear of ridicule or censure. That's huge. An open door. Imagine. I think that's in the Bible somewhere. In fact, it is. Revelation 3:20. Behold, I set before you an open door, which no one can shut. Now, people are always trying to shut the door. Build walls, fences, keep people out, draw the circle real tight. And we're saying, this is an open door for you. Anybody can come. Doesn't matter where you've been, where you're at. You're welcome here. Or to use Western vernacular, like God, we throw a mighty wide loop. We bring everybody in. So, this is our vision, too. And I so much appreciate your allowing me to help carry that vision with you. And contemplating what I say on Sunday morning, or what Reverend Dan says on Sunday morning, or what Mimi says, and taking it to heart. Not always agreeing with every word, but really considering it. And then carrying this vision, committing to it, preserving it, advancing it in the world. I think about an image in the Bible, both Hebrew Scripture and the New Testament, about a city set on a hill. Doesn't mean we're going to be the biggest and the best. Doesn't mean that everybody's going to point to us and say, look at them, they're a great church, but there's a sense in which we are a light, a beacon. I remember the words of Ezekiel. I will make with them a covenant of peace and banish wild animals from the land so that they may sleep in the woods securely. I will make them and the region around my mountain a blessing and will send the showers in their season. They shall be showers of blessing. Appropriate song in the prelude was beautiful, that James Taylor song. I love that. Shower the people with love. That's what we are. We're not just called to privilege, we're called to service. We're blessed to be a blessing, a shower of blessing. And the prophet said, I will make them a covenant. They will rest securely in the woods. They will know my peace. Now, about toward the end of our stay in the Hermitage, when Connie just couldn't stand me anymore because we're together all the time, and a lot of the time we're in nature and in solitude. But actually, I did decide to go off for 24 hours on my own, in my own solitude, my own my own hermitage. And so I hiked up the mountain about 2 miles. In the middle of this mountain, the Carmelites have a very special little hermitage. It's 10 by 12. It sits on the mountain. There's no running water. There's no electricity. There's nothing but a bed, a chair, and there is a butane burner to heat coffee, heat water. So I walked up the mountain, and I spent 24 hours in my own solitude and silence there. And it's quite a beautiful experience. Don't know that I can do it forever. There is another hermitage on the side of the same mountain, the Buddha Stone. And there's someone, a monk, that's been in solitude for 16 years. I'd like to meet that guy. The first 3 years he never came off the mountain. Now he does occasionally come off the mountain. But in that quiet space, time to contemplate and think about the blessings of God, the peace of God, the goodness of God in my life, the sense of security and safety that I experience, even in those mountains. And the prophet had said that I will banish the wild animals from the land so you may sleep securely in the woods. I wasn't so concerned about the wild animals. Yeah, there are bears and mountain lions and everything else. I'm more concerned about the crazy people that are roaming out in the woods and in our streets. That's where the real danger is. The animals are fairly predictable. You leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. The bears might come after your food, but that's about it. But you know, I thought about the fact that as I slept well that night, and I slept well last night, and most nights, quite often with my door unlocked, I thought about the fact that so many people in this world don't sleep that well. They don't have that security. We take it for granted. They don't know if their house is going to be robbed or bombed or foreclosed on. And worse than that, many people in this world don't have a house. And that's why I'm so thankful that we're helping build them still with the Habitat Project. But there are many people in this world that have no safe haven, no safety net. And so being a church of higher elevation means that our call is not just a privilege, but to service, to reach out, to share the blessings. And I think that's one of the hallmarks of this church. But as I go on with this series, I just wanted to highlight a few things which I think make for that church of higher elevation. When I say high, as I said, I'm not talking necessarily about big. I don't care how big a church. There are churches in this country that are 10,000 people. But I have to ask, are they telling the truth? Are they telling the truth? Doesn't matter how big they are. So high doesn't mean big, and high doesn't necessarily mean high church. You know what high church is. Russell, you participate in some of those services. Sometimes they're Episcopalian or some other denominational form. High church, you know, with all what I call the smells and bells. And I like that sometimes. I enjoy that. I went to some Catholic services as well. We went to some of the masses and so forth, and they can be quite beautiful. They're not necessarily my cup of tea, but we're talking about the higher elevation. We're not talking about high church. We're talking about something else. And I want to identify a few of these as I go forward.